Hey guys, Jacob and Anthony from Go Industrial, and we're here today to firstly congratulate you if you've made the investment in a Mirka dustless sanding system, whether that be the Deros 2-in-1 kit or any other sander in the Mirka range for that matter. And Anthony, or AJ as we know him, is here with us today as our service and warranty coordinator. And just a good dude, part of the Go team. And I'm going to run you through what a Deros is, how it works, a few of the little bits and pieces of changing the backing pad, what to look out for after continued use, and how the weight system works as well depending on your application. So let's look at what's in the box.
So guys, what we've got here is our Deros 2-in-1 kit. So it comes standard in a 5mm variant, but here at Go Industrial we also option for an 8mm variant if you need something a little bit more aggressive, just to tackle weatherboard and those sort of projects. So we're going to go through the kit now. So of course you get the sander itself, comes standard with the 150mm pad. You get the spanner to adjust it. Basically this one just goes in here, spins off. You get the 125mm backing pad, 4-meter lead, 2 sample packs, comes with a pad saver and also some sample abrasives for both the 125mm and the 150mm. The manual with instructions and also the weights for counterbalancing if you're using more abrasives or more heavy abrasives, but we'll get into that in a second. You also get, obviously, the case with this one, or the sustainer, which basically just allows you to transport it easily onto your job site or onto your vac. Has a handle, lifts off, connects into your vac with the case fastening kit, and just attaches like that. Alright guys, so next up I'm going to show you how to take the backing pad off, switch it to the 125mm, and also how the weight system works and how to add in those extra weights. So let's get into that. So using your 24mm Mirka spanner in between the backing pad and the brake seal until you feel it latch in. Secure that and just push till it loosens. And it comes off like that. And so that's the weight system there. And these are the backing pads. So if we get the 125mm, it's as simple as just putting it on and screwing it in. Now with the weight system, what we want to do is if we're using a pad saver, or let's say 40, 80, oh, fuck.
Yeah, stop there, I gotta adjust my angle anyway.
Yeah, cool.
Yep, cool. So firstly, a quick explanation in case you don't know what an 8mm Deros is as opposed to a 5mm Deros. Really, it's the distance from the center point of your sander. Because they are random orbital sanders, well, firstly they're gonna orbit and the orbit will be random. So it means instead of a perfectly circular motion, if you can picture the oscillation of the sander, it's the measurement from the center point outwards. So the 8mm is a more aggressive oscillation, which means that with certain abrasives, it might actually tear through your job faster. If you're a house painter, for example, a contractor, that might mean the difference between spending X amount of time on a weatherboard home versus being a bit slower with 5mm. However, when it comes to fine finishing, the 8mm may not be appropriate as opposed to a 5 when it comes for fine furniture or marine or automotive. So these Deroses aren't just for one application, they can be used across multiple applications depending on the abrasive that you're wanting to use. They're extremely versatile, and so we're going to explain why the weight system is here and how it finally balances that motor. So when should you worry about the weight system, or when is it even necessary to put in the third weight? Basically, if you're always going to be using a pad saver, which is the Velcro that goes between the backing pad and the abrasive to actually save the life of the backing pad, we advise to use one all the time. Some people might not want to or might choose not to, that's fine. But if you're always going to be using a pad saver or an interface pad, which I will get one, is one of these guys, and it's basically a spongy barrier between the backing pad and your abrasive. When you're sanding contoured edges, or if you're sanding curves, you're not going to rip the edge off. So that'll basically sponge to whatever you're sanding. If you're going to be using one of these because it's adding extra distance from the center point of where the sander is oscillating to the surface, you want to balance your motor, otherwise this is going to vibrate excessively, or it's just going to cause a bit of discomfort while you're sanding. So to balance the motor, we're going to run you through what to do for a 5 or an 8 mil. So take it away, AJ.
First thing you want to do is you want to remove your backing pad, whether that's the 150 mil or the 125 mil. So use your 24 mil Mirka spanner. You just want to wedge that under the back there between the backing pad and the pad saver. The backing pad and the brake pad. And just like this, just till it's loose, and then you can just spin this one off. And that's how you remove the backing pad. If you're going to interchange between the 150 mil or the 125 mil backing pad, it's the same process. Just use the spanner, screw it off, screw in the new one. So you'll see here on the 5 mil, you have 3 weights, A, B, and C. Now if you're using the pad saver, or if you're using more aggressive abrasive, and you don't want to, well, of course you're not going to want to, but to stop vibration, heavy vibration, you basically just want to add in the weights and the screws. So do you want to show the weights and the screws?
I'll show the weights and the screws. So with your instruction manual or in your box, if you buy the sander as a 150 mil separately, it's going to come in the box no matter what you purchase. Sander wise for the Deros, you're going to get the pack of weights with the Allen key as well. And that's all you're going to need to add those in. Now it's going to differ between the 5 mil and the 8 mil because the motors do balance differently, but it's roughly the same kit. There's actually only 2 screws for the 8 mil because if you look at that here, we actually have 5 screws total we can put in, and it's got 3 standard on B, D, and E. So we're going to add them in on A as well as C. All of this is in the instruction manual with diagrams as well, but easiest for us to show you now. If you want to show the 5 mil.
Exactly, so on the 5 mil, yeah, like I said, you've got A, B, and C. And so basically with that in the kit, you'll see the 3 little silver nuts, if you will, and you'll have the 3 screws. And basically what you'll do is...
4th one spare as well if you manage to lose one.
Yeah, and with I don't recommend using the provided Allen key, just because it's, you know, a lot better to use just a socket or something a little bit more secure. Over time, you know, if you're using it, they can get tightened, they can get stuff stuck under them, and you don't want to thread them. So use a socket, play it safe, and then basically what you'll do is just add these little nuts, screw them onto the bolts, and just put all 3 back in. Simple as that.
Cool. So we'll get our demo unit out and we'll show you how to do it.
You just want to break it like that. There we go. Then once it's loosened, we can just unscrew them by hand.
So why are we taking these off?
So we're taking these off just to add in the extra silver weights and also to add the 3rd one. And that's just going to allow for less vibration when using your pad saver and also your more aggressive abrasives. So we can put the unit aside, and basically we're just going to get 3 of the bolts, 3 of the nuts, and we're just going to thread the nuts on the bolts. And we're just going to thread the nuts on the bolts like so. Just going to thread it down all the way, and we'll do that 3 times. 3 bolts, we can add them back onto the motor. So all we want to do, start the thread by hand. These don't have to be secured with Loctite or any thread tape or anything like that. They just go in straight like this. They don't have to be over tightened or set to a certain torque. Just screw them all in like that, and then just use a socket or the Allen key and just give them a little nip. Nothing too tight. Just like that. And there we have it. So now you can see the difference. Originally we only had the 2 bolts on, Now we've got the 3 bolts and the 3 silver weights as well. And then we can just this one on here, backing pad on. And there we have it.
So the main difference with the 8mm is, once you take the backing pad off, we actually don't need to add the silver nuts to the bolts that are already in the motor. All you need to do is add the 2 black bolts straight into A and C and tighten those with an Allen key, and you're done. So if you're always going to be using a backing pad, a pad saver, an interface pad, and those range of abrasives might start from 40 grit, 60 grit, 80 grit, right up to 120, so on. You can keep those weights in there permanently. Just make sure that you are using a pad saver or an interface pad at all times. If you want to remove them, follow the process in reverse. Now, while we got the hood off, there's one thing that I will mention. This black seal around the circumference, around the motor, this is actually a brake seal. And what happens is when you release your finger off the paddle, so when you're going between that 4,000 and 10,000 RPM, what happens is this brake seal makes your backing pad come to a stop. We want to make sure that this is always cleaned well. Make sure we're not pushing down on the sander, letting the sander do the work, letting the random orbit do the work, and that way your brake seal won't wear out. You'll know if your brake seal is worn if you release your finger from the paddle, when the revolutions decrease and it starts to slow to a halt. If it's taking a very long time, your brake seal's worn. If it comes to a halt almost immediately, it might take a little bit longer at those high revolutions, you know that your brake seal's fine. So that's a good one to keep in mind. Always keep this clean. If you're using dust extraction, try and use it as much as possible. That is the point of a dustless sander. But if you're going to be using it without dust extraction, we always advise to take your backing pad off, clean, and you'll be sweet. So thanks very much for tuning in. Who are Go Industrial? We are Mirka partners for Australia. So we're based in Brisbane, but we have warehouses all over the nation. We're super passionate about the Mirka range.
We're a registered repair agent, so should there be any issues, service-wise, repair-wise, that'll come straight back to us. We fix it same day, get it back to you. It goes great with a 3-year warranty, doesn't it, on the Mirka products?
That's right. And touch wood, very, very rare that things do go wrong with our Mirka range. It's all built in Finland and it's backed by a really comprehensive warranty nationwide. So no matter where you are in Australia, if you have a Mirka product, it's within warranty, or even if it's outside of warranty, give us a buzz if you have any questions. If you notice something's going on, we can definitely help you along the way. Doesn't matter where you bought it from. We love Mirka and we're here to represent the brand and back every single unit in the country. So thanks for tuning in. Catch you next time.
Thanks, guys.